Welcome to Alive, my search for the best ways to live. I'm your host. My name is Jigga Jr. And today our guests are two of the most popular figures in Cebu as far as COVID-19 goes. I'm sure you guys heard of them even before COVID-19, but we're here to talk about that. I'm talking about, of course, Divine and Blake Go.
Hi,
Hi,
Giga
hi,
Junior.
Jig.
I hope everything is going well.
Everything is all right here. I'm with my dog, but aside from that, everything's all right.
Good.
How are both of you doing?
A month recovered, a month or more, no? Well,
Yes,
you came home 21.
21
So, yeah, a little over
for
a
a
month
month.
since he came home
Home. Came home from the
from
hospital.
the hospital. And yeah, since that whole, how do I say it, adventure?
Okay, this story of yours about how your journey is from the time you caught COVID-19 to your recovery now is a story that needs to be retold over and over again because I think the lessons that you have learned needs to be taught to everyone so that it won't happen to them.
Mhm.
Yes.
First things first, to the best of your recollection, Divine and Blake, where did you think you caught COVID-19? And I know, you probably didn't know exactly when, but what is your best theory? Where did you think you caught it
It's
from?
obviously not person to person because we haven't been out since March 14.
15, March
15,
14.
so our last dinner out was actually March 14
15.
night, right? So we had some friends visiting Cebu. And then that was the start of the lockdown in Manila.
Okay.
So sumabay kami, meaning like when they locked down, we didn't go out. Even if Cebu was still, we're not sure if it was locked down in Cebu
Not,
already. Not yet,
not yet.
right?
Yes.
But we didn't go out of the house. We haven't seen anybody, meaning our people would always ask us, paano kayo na grocery? How do you do your groceries? How do you do whatever, the packages? Everything is sent up in a cart in the elevator. We don't see anybody, no delivery boy. Our driver does the grocery and he doesn't go up to see us. Technically, we just see the elevator open, get the cart out, and then if we need to send something down, it's the same system. We just put it in a cart again. Yeah, so everything is a mystery. For sure, it's not person to person. It's really hard to say where or how, but one thing we're sure of, it's from things.
Things,
Yeah.
packages, food delivery,
Or we don't know. We
or
don't know. We can't
anything that's
really say.
packaged or
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
comes in.
it can be grocery, it
Or
can be money,
money.
it can be anything. So and to think that I was so anal about everything, like I make sure that everything is disinfected, may nakalusot pa rin. So now we're really airing things out. So if you don't really need to touch it right away, you just leave it out for a bit and wait for, like, sometimes we leave it out in the balcony, get some sun. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are things that you don't really have to fix right away, like your groceries, the canned goods. You can just leave it out for a bit.
You mentioned elevator. So is this like a private elevator or this is like a common elevator with the other people? You mentioned
With
elevator?
other
With
people,
other people.
but in our condo, we're the only one in our floor. So
Okay.
technically, we're in the highest floor. So when
Okay.
the elevator goes to us, it
It's
goes
just goes
straight.
straight to us.
So
Okay.
there's nobody there.
Okay.
We call the lobby and tell them to bring the goods up. So it's just the from the lobby straight
Went
to
up.
straight
And
to
then when the
our,
goods get here, we get it from the elevator, and that's it. There's no human contact.
yeah,
There's no one bringing the goods up.
yeah.
So you suspect it came from the things that was delivered to you,
That
and you may
Yeah.
have touched it or
It can be money.
whatever, right?
Yeah, it
yeah,
can be anything. It
we
can
can
be
touch
money.
touch
It
it.
can
Yeah.
be it can be plastics. I mean, for sure, it's not a person.
Person, not
Yeah.
person.
So you don't know the where, and how about the when? Do you know exactly the actual time when you first started showing symptoms?
He did.
I,
Nagkakaiba ba kayo, or did you catch it, or did you feel the symptoms simultaneously?
I was asymptomatic. I just did the
Okay.
swab because, I mean, for other people, they probably wouldn't do the swab because they don't feel anything, or but we have kids, so I wanted everybody in the house swab. And I
Mhm.
knew that in the back of my mind, I knew I had the most exposure to Blake because
Okay.
when he started getting sore throat, I told the kids to sleep na in another room. So I was the only one with Blake at that time.
Okay.
And I already isolated him the first day he got his symptoms, which he thought it was crazy. And I requested a swab the next day. He's like, we haven't been out. I mean, how
Right?
crazy? Why do you want the swab? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we've been doing the rapid test and it was all
Right.
negative. Ang
Okay.
dami niya ng tusok. But anyways, yeah, so the doctor said from the day of his symptom, we can count back.
Back
It's somewhere
from 3 to
between
7 days.
3 to 7 days. So
Um,
he
I
started.
know that Blake. I see this guy all the time in the gym, right? So you live a very healthy lifestyle. But I'm curious. During the time that you caught the virus, or you thought you caught the virus, and let's say move back a few months, would you say that you still have been living a healthy lifestyle in terms of exercising, in terms of dieting, in terms of eating the right food, in terms of resting? Do you think that at that point you were still living what we would call a healthy lifestyle?
I would say pretty much yes, but some part no. In fact, I have a treadmill at home.
Okay.
Before it happened, I run maybe probably
Every day.
every day to 4 times a week,
Okay.
minimum of 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Food wise, that's something different. Since I've been locked down, I tend to eat more, I would say,
Junk food.
junk food or deliveries. Since
Okay.
I'm just home, sometimes it's not, you get bored, diba? Sometimes you're just at home. But overall, I would say I'm still pretty much healthy in terms of food intake and exercise.
How about rest, if you don't mind me
Rest, yes.
asking?
I've been
Yeah.
sleeping for 12 hours. Maybe 8 to 10 hours in the evening and plus additional 2 in the afternoon. So that's why I would consider it pretty healthy. It's
So
more than
it could not have been that your immunity was sort of lowered, right? Because you were not sleeping well or eating well, or you weren't exercising usually. So it could not have been that. That's why
no,
you got
definitely no.
infected, right?
Actually, looking at it the other way around, he was hit very mildly because we
Okay.
think he's healthy.
Yes, of
That's
course.
why he
Yeah,
wasn't hit
hard
hard because even when he was in the hospital, he wasn't under any strong medication. It
medication.
was mostly vitamins.
Mhm.
So he was one of the mild cases. The only reason why he went to the hospital is because they wanted to do a daily X-ray on him. His doctor wanted to do a daily X-ray. So
Okay.
for us, there's more exposure of him going back and forth with the kids in the house. So it's better na he just stay in the hospital as compared to going there every day. So that's more
Yeah.
exposure pa.
So
Um,
going
go ahead.
back, I would say being healthy was also big help. That I had mild symptoms. Yes, the doctor was telling me na, you're swerte, you're healthy, you're young, so probably it didn't go too severe. No, so it's a big factor that you're healthy and you do exercise, take your normal vitamins, vitamin C, zinc, and all this. No, so that's still a big factor.
So Divine, you were totally and completely asymptomatic. There was no symptoms whatsoever. You didn't lose your sense of taste or walang medyo cough or fever, nothing talaga.
Nah, that's why it was harder mentally because when you're asymptomatic, you don't know where to start counting because he starts counting from the first day of symptom. I was just counting up in the air, like, okay, maybe I should just count like Blake and every time you're thinking, do I have a fever? Do I feel like I'm coughing? Do
Yeah,
I feel anything? Um,
Paranoid.
so yeah,
paranoid. Yeah,
paranoid. So until we got our blood test and it showed that we're cleared, that was the only time that you really stop thinking about things because the whole time you don't feel anything yet in your mind you know you're positive and you're thinking oh my god is it coming now, is it tomorrow, I mean when will I feel it? So that was the difficult part with being asymptomatic, but I was just happy that we all got a swab test because if we didn't, if most people would just get a swab test if they have symptoms. We all got a swab test because there are babies and I really wanted to isolate who got it from Blake because Blake is already positive and we all kind of had interaction with him. So when we found out it was me, we isolated kagad. That's why we were able to protect the household.
Would you say that you have the same level of health, Divine, as Blake? Would you say that you also have the same amount of sleep, the same amount of exercise, and you practically eat the same kind of food? So your healthiness is sort of the same. Would you say
I
that?
healthier.
I think she's healthier.
Healthier.
Yeah.
So does that? So maybe that's why you're healthier than Blake. That's why you exhibited no symptoms,
No
right?
symptoms. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, because he likes junk. I mean, he likes sweets like that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he eats a lot of those every day, and I
Okay.
don't eat those. So I think that's the difference. Yeah, and we both work out.
Yeah.
So we're okay on that part, and we all sleep in one room with the kids, so we also get about the same rest. It's really just the sweets. And what's funny is when he got a sore throat, he was actually blaming ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah, he's like, "Why are you getting me a swab test? I just had
Ice
a little
cream.
too much ice cream."
That's funny. So, Blake, maybe you can take us through the first symptoms that you had all the way to your worst day. First and foremost, what was your first symptom to your cough, your sore throat? Is that correct?
Yes. Actually, the day one, I would count it from day one because that was the first day that my symptoms, no. So it was cough. No, sorry.
No,
Sore throat.
na.
Sore throat.
Sore throat. Okay.
Sore throat. And then this day two, sore throat again. But I was already doing this, betadine, salt,
Yeah,
hot water,
gargle,
gargle.
gargle.
And then normally on the third day, it should, for me, for my experience, wala na. Should be okay. But on the
Okay.
third day, it was still there. So that's the time I got scared. I
Okay.
really thought that this is something different. It's not your regular sore throat. And then my wife got the swab test on day 3. And then you have to wait for 2 days pa to get your result. So day 4, sore throat pa rin. On day 5, I think when the
Fever.
result came out, I also got a fever na.
Ah, okay.
Day 5 fever.
And then
So,
a little cough.
a little cough. Nag-start na yung cough on day 5. That's the time I went to the hospital. And then there's a time also I got my result na positive. When I got to the hospital, day 5, so day 6, my cough got bad.
Yeah.
And then it got parang worse pa on day 7. That's the time I was so scared. I was like thinking na, oh, is this gonna be tutuloy na? Tutuloy meaning you get to the severe or extreme case of COVID, or the doctors call it bad COVID. So that's the time you're so scared na from day 6 to day 9, because that's the time that the COVID can go really bad, or it will maintain na you're just mild. So that was the hardest part. Day 6, day 7, day 8, day 9. Your cough is so bad, your fever's on and off, and sometimes it's hard to breathe. For my case, there was a time it was really hard to breathe.
So day 7, day 8, day 9 would be your worst day.
First, yes. 6, 7.
But he was still not on any
Not-
medication. I mean, I don't want to parang make it sound like he was in the severe case,
No, wala.
because he wasn't on medication. They saw a little hazing,
Yeah.
is that what you call it, in the lungs, in the chest
Okay.
X-ray.
Okay.
That's why they wanted to monitor.
Yeah.
But they didn't even give him any medicine. Like, it was more vitamins. It was more, the doctor was telling him, because I kept on asking, like, you're in the hospital already. They're not giving you medicines like that. He was like, yeah, the doctors are saying that my body can fight
Can
this out.
fight it, yeah.
My body
Which
can
is
fight
true. After my hospital, my IgG is your antibodies. It was actually pretty high. Pretty high means my body was able to fight the bacteria or the virus out of my body. So
Okay.
those are the things that you need when after COVID, no?
Mm-hmm. What triggered you, Blake, from going to the doctor? Because you mentioned on the 5th, 6th day, you immediately went to the hospital.
The wife.
Why did you go to the hospital immediately? Was
The
it because
wife.
First is the wife.
of the
The
isolation?
wife is so, like, oh, you're positive. Go check.
Go to the
Go to the hospital. That's number 1. I guess
Okay.
number 2 would be my doctor
kids.
advised me to just go get checked. 'Cause
Okay.
COVID is what was it?
Insidious.
COVID can has a lot of complications. Meaning,
Okay.
we don't know what's the effect in your body. So some
Okay.
can get heart attack. Some can get clog in the blood, and some will have pneumonia. So kahit na mild ka, there's still complications. So my doctor was just super careful and told me to get checked there and get x-rays and blood tests.
I mean, on the other side, like I was asking the doctor, like, I'm also positive. Do I have to go to the hospital? Blah, blah, blah. She said you never manifested symptoms. And until you start manifesting symptoms, that's the only time I'll tell you to go to the
Hospital.
hospital. So, um, it's really important to have a doctor,
Yeah.
talk to a doctor, because if we didn't have a doctor advising us, we would probably just both go, or we would probably stay na lang at home so we're together. But hearing how he was coughing and how he was progressing, and we were writing everything down in a symptom diary. So we were reviewing that with the doctor every day, we called the doctor like 3 to 5 times a day, text the whole day. It was the doctor who said, go to the hospital. Tell Blake to go already, because we want to check why his cough is progressing.
Yeah.
We want to see if that's pneumonia.
Was it a difficult decision to go to the hospital? Because
Yes.
hospitals is also a cesspool of disease, whether you like it or not, no matter how top-notch or how expensive the hospital is. It is there's a lot of disease and viruses in a hospital. Was it a difficult decision for you to go there, Blake, or was it
Yes.
easy because Divine said so?
Actually, it's very hard. I'm like everybody else. I was very scared to go to the
It's
hospital,
his first
Okay.
time.
and it was my first time to get admitted. No,
Wow. Okay.
so yes, so it was hard for me. I mean, I was scared. Scared meaning scared that I actually in the beginning I was in denial. I really thought that sayop to ang test. I don't think so. I'm not positive. This is just flu. Parang that was my first reaction, no? But then when I realized that it was really positive, my cough is bad, it's better to get checked. And it was also my way of isolating myself from the kids.
Okay. So once you got your worst symptoms, which is really bad cough and you could not breathe, when did you start getting better? When did you feel you got better now? And finally, when you were already okay to check out of the hospital.
I think it was on day 9. No, worst was
You
6, 7.
extended pa nga eh.
Day 9, even 10, mga day 10. It improved already. My cough improved, and then from there, I extended. Actually, I extended from the hospital.
They wanted to check the blood.
They wanted to check my blood, and I think I was in the hospital for 14 days.
Yeah.
I was released on day 12.
So when you were released day 12, wala na talaga. Zero.
No, you still have
cough.
cough. I still have my
Okay.
cough, a little
yeah,
pa rin.
little cough.
But
Okay.
then
The like, okay, so he got blood. It's a blood test. It's called an IgG titer or titer. It's supposed to identify the two antibodies in your body. The IgM is the active virus antibodies. I don't know if I'm saying this right. I'm not a doctor, but this is how I understood it. The IgM is for the past virus, meaning like tapos na if you have your IgG. So his IgM is already non-reactive, meaning he doesn't have the active virus anymore.
Okay.
His IgG is very, very high. So that's why they released
Release
him.
him.
Yeah.
So
meaning-
what did the doctor say? Does this mean now that you're immune to the virus? Because we hear stories about people getting COVID-19 twice
yes.
in a matter of a few months, 4 months. There was this case in China, I think, when he got it again after 4 months. What did the doctor say about your immune system now, Blake?
The doctor advised me that there's still no studies, meaning there's still not enough evidence or data that tells you that you're immune or you're 100% bulletproof from COVID after you get infected. But based on what they have now, you are okay for the first 2 months or 3 months max. After
Okay.
that, your IgG, which is the one that fights the virus out, starts to go down. The level
Okay.
goes down. So there's still no study based on what the doctor told me. There's no evidence that it can last forever or for a year. So you would say the safe would be 1 month, 2 months. The third one, they're not pretty sure already.
What supplements did you take during the fact that you found out that you had COVID? Were you tempted to take that Chinese medicine that just got approved a few months ago
The
here in the Philippines. Did you try that?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, I did. Actually, a friend of mine gave me the moment I found out that I had symptoms.
Okay.
They were stayed my friend, a good friend of mine. I don't. He sent me some and
Okay.
told me just to take it. It's
support.
a support
Yeah.
because it's a herbal, correct ba?
Yeah, it's herbal.
Parang herbal. It's a traditional Chinese medicine. Take it. Walay mawa nimo if you take it, no. So actually, I took it on the third day pa lang on my symptoms. Which
Okay.
at that time I didn't know it was still COVID. I just thought it was a sore throat fever.
Because I think they also use that.
Yeah, they use that for fever,
cough,
sore
or
throat,
like that.
cough.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And did you take any extra vitamins and other supplements aside from the ones that you normally took before this COVID-19?
Was for the supplements we were all given, like especially me, I'm asymptomatic. These are just normal ones, but I asked the doctor why the doctor gave it to us. So there's an
Okay.
explanation for each. So we were supposed to do, but okay, so just not to confuse people, when we were positive, we were taking vitamin C with zinc twice a day, and then after we became okay, it was reduced to once a day. So
Okay.
technically still maintain it. We were taking fish oil because COVID apparently attacks the blood also. So it clogs the blood, which can cause into other things like heart attack or stroke. So you're supposed to take fish oil so it doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So we were taking twice a day while we were positive, and then now once na lang. Fish oil is also good for your hair, your nails. So it's technically good for your health. We were also taking D3 because since everyone is in ECQ, isolation, stuck at home, you don't get enough sunlight. So that's for immunity. We were also taking, while we were positive, this is the most important thing that they gave us. They gave us melatonin.
To sleep?
Melatonin, we were taking quite a lot per day. It was
12 milligrams per meal.
per meal. So if you have a 3 mg, that's 3 tablets
Per meal.
aside from all the other things that you're taking per meal. So okay, so, no, four if 3 mg. So
Yeah.
four tablets per meal. The melatonin is supposed to stop. It's an antioxidant, so it's supposed to help you avoid getting a cytokine storm. I don't know if I'm saying it right. It's a complication of COVID where you build too much antibodies
Yeah.
and then your body shuts down or something, or it's hard for your body to fight because it's overreacting.
Yeah.
Technically, it's just fighting itself, not even the good cells or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm not a doctor, but I'm trying to explain it the way I understood
Yeah.
it.
I'm sure
So
they can Google it.
yeah, so we
Yeah.
were given melatonin. So while I was Googling, all these things were approved by DOH, and it's actually used in other countries
Countries
too.
also.
So yeah, those are just the vitamins that he took. And then the normal probiotics,
Yeah.
just added stuff. But we're still taking most of them, only at a lower dose now,
Okay.
just to keep our immunity up.
So I'm glad that you both are well now, and Blake, especially you, because you're the one that had a lot of symptoms. I'm glad that you're 100% now. Would you say?
I would say I'm 99%.
Okay.
But getting there, getting to 100.
Okay.
It's a virus that stays in your body quite for a long time,
Don't wait,
but
they might mistake you
but
as
not
positive.
but not positive or
I
not
mean-
infectious. It still could be in your body, but then you're not infectious to anybody.
it I think what he's trying to say is that the effects
The effects.
are long in your body.
Body.
Like he is still a little tired,
Tired.
he said, like as compared to before COVID. But as to medical terms, it's not like being positive
Positive,
or
wala na.
sick
Yeah.
anymore.
Aside from the disease that we all have, or the virus that we all have to deal with, um, one of the biggest things about this pandemic is the isolation. In fact, there was a scientist who said, nga, this pandemic is a gigantic experiment on how people deal with isolation. You guys were isolated from a lot of things. You mentioned from your kids, from the entire world for a long time. how did you guys deal with the isolation?
Okay, I think for me the hardest part was not seeing the kids and knowing I'm okay, and knowing I'm also positive but not feeling anything.
Okay.
But with regards to everyday life, after that COVID stunt, um, parang we adjusted na. Parang I think we realized that okay to you can work naman pala from home. A little harder to coordinate, but yeah, I mean, you just you're left with no choice. So you really have to adjust. I would fly to Manila before day trips just to do my meetings. I never realized that I could just do it in my sala over Zoom. Like most probably, like even with you, like you always
Yeah,
have
yeah,
your guests over. You never thought that this is actually a good thing. It's
yeah.
possible. Yeah. So yeah, people adjust, and I think we have adjusted also. We don't know how long this will happen pa. I mean, this whole ECQ, this whole pandemic thing, but yeah, I'm just a bit sad for the kids. It's good that my kids are not big enough to really realize that they're stuck at home. But yeah, I mean, they can't go to school. They can't run around. It's not a normal childhood for me.
How about you, Blake? What was going through your mind when you were isolated from a lot of people? You know, did you go to dark places in your mind? What were your thoughts? What was going through your mind when you're in isolation? Because the isolation, kasi it forces us to deal with our thoughts, right? I mean, like we're always with people. We're social beings. We're always on the phone. We're always in meetings. We're always with a group of people. So we really can't listen to ourselves. But if you're isolated, you have a opportunity to listen to your thoughts. Um, did you think of stuff that you never thought of? What was going through your both your minds when you're isolated from the rest of the world?
Actually, that's a very good question. No? Being isolated, for me, especially me, I'm so used to people around me. I like to talk, have a good chat. It was really hard for me in the beginning because, first of all, knowing that I had symptoms, my first goal there was just to survive every day. I was praying that this virus won't go what they call a bad COVID. So that was the challenges for me. It was just more of praying and feeling my body or waiting for like the improvements. So that was the challenge for me for the first 9 days. It was more on surviving. On after I got my IgM, I was isolated at home. Then it was a totally different isolation. It was more on thinking about family, how important family. When you're sick, it was more on my energy or my I would say the thing that what's made me feel better faster because I was thinking about the kids, and then also it made me a lot of think of a lot of things like maybe my business, my relationship with my friends, knowing that I could have died in that time. So there was a lot of things that actually made me realize, and I think it was also blessing in disguise because right after I got out COVID, parang I was more motivated, and I feel that this would be a different life for me. Parang it's gave me a lot of reason.
So you mentioned that you were rethinking about your relationship with
Correct.
family and friends, right? And your business. Would you be able to kindly sort of delve into a little bit deeper than that? What do you mean by you are rethinking about how your relationship are with your family and friends and your business? What do you mean by that?
Personally, this is my personal experience. It was more like I could have spent more time with my parents, my family, talk to them more. Because there was a real time it's hard na you think kasi na, oh, if I don't survive this, what's gonna happen to my family? So there's things that comes into your mind that you can't really control, no? So it was more online, I would say more visual or more connection, communication to your parents and to your family. That was a thing that I talk to my mom regularly, but I just feel it's still kulang, no?
Mhm.
Or to my dad. And to my kids, parang you want to spend more time, enjoy the time together. So those are the things that made me realize na it was really important. It's really important until now, no?
And speaking of business, how about your business? Because I know everybody knows that you have a retail business, right? Um, does that mean that you're also rethinking about the way you will be doing business, not just because of the life and death experience that you had, but also because we're living in a totally and completely different world now? Have you rethought about the way you will be doing business now in this coronavirus?
Yes, a lot, a lot. Actually, business. At first, I would look at my staff or my people. It was more on looking out for their health.
Mhm.
Um, After that, we gave a lot of benefits, hazard pay. We provided a lot of uh, more uh, more things for the employees to make sure that they feel happy or they feel safe to go to the office. Second, we adopted a lot of safety things in the stores. We had hand sanitizer, alcohol, um, acrylic shields for the cashier to make our customers safer. Um, we improved on our deliveries. So there were a lot of things that we improved in the business side. And it was at the time that I was isolated. I thought about all these things.
Would you be able to mention to the public what your business is and explain to them what sort of business you have, if you don't mind?
Yes, we're into retail supermarkets, hypermarkets.
Okay.
Yes, that's my
What is
business,
it?
family
What's it?
business here in Cebu.
What's it called again, Blake?
It's called Prince
Prince
Store.
Prince Warehouse.
Yeah, Prince
Stores,
Warehouse,
right?
Prince Store. Yeah.
Prince stores. This is a retail business, and I think you guys sell essentials, right? Would you say that because I think a lot of people are saying that most people are going into the basics and buying just the essentials, and they don't have the time or the inclination to buy luxury stuff, and they're just buying the bare essentials. Would you say that business is improving? Would you say that business is the same, or would you say that your business is greatly negatively affected by COVID-19?
I would say the business is totally different, meaning
Okay.
that the people, their habit of buying things are different. The choices that they buy, it's all totally different now. It's a different business, so it's time to adjust and adapt to the new. I would say the new now.
Mhm. So business is improving, business is the same, or business is negatively affected by the COVID-19 as far as yours is concerned?
I would say it's improving.
Improving. That's good to hear. How about you, Divine? What were your what was the thought processes what was going through your mind when you were in isolation? Like Blake, did you have those rethinking of the way you have to deal with friends and family and business and all that?
Yeah, I had a lot of time because here in isolation, I didn't have to homeschool because the kids were not with me. But I really drowned myself in work
Okay.
because that was one thing that was keeping me off thinking like, do I need to cough? Do I have a fever? Do I have a headache? Because
Mm.
every time you're not doing anything, you're watching TV, you start thinking of other things about COVID.
Mm.
So work was helping me focus and to stop thinking of those things. Of course, I was worried for our kids because he's sick and I'm asymptomatic, but I'm positive. So what will happen to us, diba? Kawawa the kids. But I'm naturally not a negative person, so I was trying to just focus on the positive. I was trying to think of different ways how to pivot the businesses into more online, um, to cater more to people, and to actually how because we're also busy with Courage Cebu before this COVID thing happened to us. So we were that's why I was a bit I kind of knew a bit about COVID because we were actively helping hospitals that time with through Courage Cebu. So yeah, I was thinking like how are the even the medical team with Blake, kawawa naman sila. There's so many things because it's 14 days of isolation. And it's so hard to sleep because you're stressed out nga that you're positive, right? So you really just have to keep busy, talk to your family. There I was on the phone with my friends, with my close friends a lot of time. I was always talking to Blake, although he was sleeping a lot when he was positive, when he was in the hospital. But every time he's awake, I was making sure that his mental health is okay. So yeah, you're just trying to keep everything going. Like, even if my yayas are just outside, I have to make sure that may ulam ba yung bata or, what are they gonna eat for dinner? You try to make it normal as possible, but it's kind of hard because you know that something is happening and that you are both positive.
One of the strangest things about this pandemic is that you're supposed to social distance, right? And when you're supposed to hug or shake somebody's hand or beso beso now, you can only fist bump or elbow bump and all
Even.
that stuff. Elbow bump. So doesn't that make you feel kind of strange? How do you feel about that?
Well, we haven't been out.
So we
So
haven't seen someone else, so
we
we,
don't have
we
to
still
fist
can't
bump
relate on
or
that topic.
something.
Okay, okay,
Uh,
okay, okay.
but the hard thing is because before this, my family would often visit me, or we would always go to Manila. We
Okay.
would go back and forth, back and forth. Now it's totally impossible to do that. So everything is done through Zoom. You still miss the human connection of having a person there, having my family here. Even if we're in Cebu and Blake's family is here, we don't see them. So
Yeah.
it's just really the small group that we have, the squad that we have that is in the condo. That's it lang talaga. We don't have any contact with anybody else. So yeah, that's what's so different and that's what's so hard
Yeah.
about this pandemic.
But you guys are lucky that you're together in a condo. Both of you are together. You have the kids with you and some household help. I want you guys to play a thought experiment for a while, okay? What if Blake was on a business trip to, let's say, China, for example, and you got stuck in China and you guys were alone? Do you think you would have been able to deal with this, Blake and Divine, if you were all alone, physically alone, meaning to say you were not with each other? How would that have played out?
You go first.
Oh, well, of course, it's different. It's very hard because
Yeah,
it's easier now that we get to discuss, we get to do decisions together,
yeah,
diba?
yeah.
But having someone, especially during this time na anybody can catch it, alam mo yun, he can be in trouble or he can be sick.
Hmm.
So hard if you don't have your husband beside you. So we're always grateful. I mean, our prayers every day is always like, thank you that we're healthy now and everybody is okay and the kids are okay and we're all together because those are the things that you just have to be happy about every day. The small things that you used to
Yeah.
take for
Yeah.
granted
Yes.
before now are such big things just to wake up healthy every day without
Yeah,
sore throat.
Yeah.
Alam mo yan, those are big things. So I can't imagine how it would be if Blake was elsewhere or if I was elsewhere. Parang mahirap talaga because I think we also survived this because everything was in teamwork. Like when he was in the hospital, I wasn't bugging him about anything at home. And then when he came home, I think he missed it. He was the one naman making activities with the kids. Parang you just give and take. Oh, ikaw naman muna kasi na-stress ako for 2 weeks. Your turn, yeah. So yeah, it was easier because we have each other.
how about you, Blake? What if you were stuck somewhere?
I think it would be very hard for me. Even me, I was in the hospital for how many days? It was really hard for me. I'm so used to having my family around. Like I said, I talk a lot to my parents, to Divine and the kids. I think it will be a different, totally different hard because I think one of the reason that made me feel better was knowing that my family is around me. I get to talk to them, so it was more like a booster to your body. It's all connected. No matter what you tell me, it's all connected. When you think positive, you're happy. Your body reacts to a different way. So I think it's also one big help.
So you can't imagine
I
not
can't
being with
imagine.
with,
Yeah,
with family. It's so unimaginable. What is the biggest lesson that COVID-19, the virus, and the isolation that has taught you, both of you?
You.
you go ahead.
Okay, I think it's really how we should put our health first. That's really, really. If we're talking about the virus, what I really learned is, I like taking vitamins before this whole thing because for me it's like anti-aging, better skin, better nails. Blake wasn't like that. he wouldn't drink vitamins. And I honestly think even some of my doctors said that, Divine, we think that it didn't hit you as hard because all the vitamins that we gave you, you were already taking beforehand. It's
Okay.
just not as much dosage. But I was already taking it as like anti-aging and all those things, right? So yeah, it's really putting an investment with your health, sleeping right, the basics will protect you from the, aside from the mask and the social distancing, but what will really protect you is your immune system. And that's inside you. So you just have to really take care of yourself.
How about the isolation? What has that taught you?
Me, for the isolation, the things that really matters most, before COVID, there are so many other things that you're worried about, diba?
Yeah.
Even your business. I mean, it's as important, but in the end, it's what the most important thing for me was really family. Being with my husband, being with my kids. I want to go out na, even if I know I can hear my kids, but I can't go to them. That was really hard for me. That was, oh my God, that was 14 days of
Wow.
hell. You can hear them crying, mama, you can hear them laughing, yet you can't be with them. And then we would do FaceTime all the time. The kids didn't know that I was just in the other room. So
They didn't know?
You know.
they're babies eh.
Ah,
So
okay, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we have a 2-year-old and the other one is 10
10
months. So
months.
Ah,
technically,
okay,
I
okay.
don't have any
Idea where
idea,
you
yeah,
are. Oh,
where you
yeah.
are. But
Okay.
our 2-year-old was wondering how he can take us out of the screen. Like, where's mama? Where's dada? Right? So yeah, that was hell for me. Hearing them and not being able to hold them. So then you see the things that got you worried are the things that are really most important to you. So yun lang yun. I mean, I think that will give you a different perspective, especially when there's so much distraction na in
Yeah.
the world. So yeah, it brings you back to basics of
How
what
about
is
how
the most.
Go ahead. How about
Yeah.
you, Blake? What do you think? What did you learn from the virus, from COVID-19, and as well as the isolation?
Okay. With the virus, I would say it's pretty much the same what my wife what she explained. No, be healthy. Mean eat well, exercise. It can really help you fight the virus. Even the doctor was telling me you're young, and also you take a lot of vitamins, so it made it uh, what you call it, controlled virus. So I guess that's the thing that I learned about the virus. Sa isolation naman, it was a totally different for me. Because I came to a point that I really thought that it's gonna go bad. I mean, bad COVID. I was so scared for my life. There's a lot of things that parang go back to basic. Appreciate the small things in life. You get to breathe, get to spend time with your family. Parang forget all about your dream. At the time it was, if you survive day per day, and that's already your success. It was more than like that for me. It was back to basic. Parang forget all money, things, whatever, vacation, forget about it. It was more on to survive and breathe every day.
You think that this pandemic will change people? Do you think that this is uh, such a great tragedy, a great event in the world's lives, the people's lives all over the world, that it'll change them? Because if you watch the headlines now, people are still, politicking and doing this and doing that, almost business as usual. I'm kind of losing hope that this pandemic is the opportune time for us to change and become different and better human beings, like what it has done to both of you, Divine and Blake. Do you think that, let's just say, the country will change for the better because of this, or this will be forgotten once everything is back to normal?
It's really hard to say because I mean, you can never discount the hardships that people are experiencing now. We're just lucky we survived it, but there are different kinds of hardships. People who lost their work, people who got sick or lost a family member. Kami, it changed us for the better because we survived. So, parang I cannot speak for all the other people.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that this nightmare will wake up people to different things. They realize things that are important, in the end. Um, it can be politicians, it can be businessmen, change the way you do your business. Um, Politicians change the way how you govern. You know, I just hope it becomes a jumping off point to do good, because a lot of people, even if they were not positive with COVID, even if they weren't hit by the disease, are hit by the pandemic. I mean, diba? They lost their job, they lost someone they love. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to really dictate and say that, yeah, people will be good after this. Kasi they can always tell us, hoy, hindi nyo naramdaman yung naramdaman namin. Nawalan kami ng nanay, nawalan kami ng tatay, or something like that. Kayo, survivor kayo. So it's really hard to dictate on them. But I just hope and pray that maybe this will be something good for them. Alam mo yun? Like they can eventually see something, like a change, for the better. Maybe businessmen will start um, rethinking about their business practices. Diba? Politicians will start thinking about how important public health is. Yeah. So, alam mo yun, there are different reasons to be better, and I hope people pick that road.
How about you, Blake? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, Actually, my wife's answered most of it, but I would still, because we talk about this normally. Before you ask this question, it's a topic that we actually talk about. So pretty much, it's more our answers are aligned. No? So
Mhm.
it really made, I think, it's big impact to everybody, not just for us Filipinos, for all around the world. It's something that maybe we look back how many years from now and tell our children about it. It's the people that we lost. For not for us, for our friends, our family, or our cousins. There's a lot of it's like a war. It's not just something that we forget about. It will make us. I hope and pray that it will make us a better person, no? And think about our health. That it's really important and things like this.
We are defined by the greatness of the challenge that our generation faces, and I think this pandemic is one of the greatest obstacles, the greatest challenges that our generation has ever faced. This is probably our World War I or our World War II, right? And I think something as great as this requires a great response. It'll take a lot of cooperation, a lot of strength, a lot of unity for us to be able to survive this. And I think whatever will happen when we come out of this, I hope it is something that we can be proud of, and we can tell our children, your 2-year old and your 10-month old, that this is what our generation did, and we survived it. And please learn from us so it won't happen to you again.
Mhm.
Divine, Blake, thank you so much for spending a few moments of your time. I know you guys have kids, and they're always a handful. Thank you so much.
Anytime for you, Jiggy.
We gave them treats, so
Treats,
they won't bug us.
And it's something also that we want to share. Like you said, this will not never go. Even though if we do this all the time, it's still a reminder to everybody that our life is so important. It's take care of
To
it
keep safe.
and keep safe.
I mean, not just
Not to yourself, to everyone
to
around
everyone
you.
around.
Wear masks,
I mean,
social distancing. All the DOH is telling you, it's for the good of everyone. Please, let's all do our part. Di ni kaya kung sila lang. We have to do our
yeah,
part.
I mean, the blame game should end. It's really the only way to defeat this is everybody does the right thing. Yeah.
One last question before I let you go. How did it feel when you finally saw your kids after 14 days of isolation? How did that feel, man?
Oh,
Take us through that moment when you finally saw them and was able to touch them and put your arms around them. Tell me how that felt, man.
well, I made sure to shower everything, wash my hands, everything. Um, yeah, parang naiiyak ako. But with Blake, it was anticlimactic because when he came home, he already warned us that he doesn't want to touch any of us yet.
Yeah.
So he
Okay.
was still wearing a mask. He was not going near us because even if the doctor said, "Yeah, go, you're cleared," he was still wearing it. So he said, "No, I'm giving it another
Another
7
7
days."
days.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was it's I can't explain, Jigs, but it's the best thing that happened after all the the hadlok na days. So I guess it was a reward. That's why I posted something about it, a family photo, and my caption was the best reward. So I guess
Okay.
that's the best explanation for my feeling.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
And I hope I can catch you again in better times. Hopefully, we can have a real conversation in person one of these days. Thank you so much, Divine, Lee, Blake, Go. Thank you so much. You guys stay safe, okay?
Yeah,
Stay
you
safe.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Take care.